Hi, welcome to the PBN guide for search engine optimization. This course is going to be a comprehensive walkthrough of everything that goes into setting up a private blog network. I've basically taken this, I've derived this course from a guide that I wrote about 2 years ago that has rapidly gained popularity, and I keep updating that ebook. So this course has been is basically a detailed step-by-step walkthrough from structured around that guide. Okay, so what exactly is a private blog network? Basically, a private blog network is a network of individual websites that are owned by one entity or one person, and that exists for the sole purpose of passing down link juice and SEO juice to other properties, other websites, for the sole purpose of making them rank. All these sites are undetected by Google, and they're generally controlled by one person or one entity, and Google does not know that. So they are hiding under the radar, and they don't have any footprints by which Google's algorithm can detect that they all belong to the same entity, or a manual team at Google can actually figure out that these collection of websites belong to the same person. And it's depicted very well in this picture right here, where these are different PBN sites, and they're all sort of pointing to the same money site. They're linking out to the money site, and by linking to them, they're actually passing a lot of link juice and ranking power, but the sites are not interlinked to one another or in any way, and there's no sort of footprint that's left between them. There's no sort of footprint for Google to detect that they're all owned and controlled by the same person or the same entity. The key point here is that Google does not know that these collection of sites are all controlled by one person or one entity. And you do that by not leaving any footprints, and that is a very important aspect of building your PBN. Not leaving any footprints behind for Google to detect that they are all these sites are basically owned by one person, owned and controlled by one person, and they are being solely used to pass down SEO juice and manipulate the rankings of the sites that they point to. Okay, so before I start, I just want to, it may get a little confusing, but when I say PBN, I actually mean an entire network of sites. That's a collection of all the different sites that form one private blog network, that are part of one network. And so it's a plural, and but when I say PBN site, I mean just one specific site on the network. So when I want to refer to one site on the network that we are building, I'll say PBN site. And when I just say PBN, that means I'm referring to the entire network of sites. So the plural, basically, the collection of sites. It's important. The most important aspect of building out a PBN is not getting detected. I mean, that's basically your primary purpose. It makes absolutely no sense if you're going to go out there and do all the effort and take all the trouble to build your PBN, to buy these domains, to procure them, to set up the content, to host them, to build social profiles around them, and you make some silly mistakes and you leave some footprints behind which Google can detect, and Google finds out that there's like one entity behind all these sites. So it's all about footprints, and you need to make sure you don't leave any footprints. And we'll come into we'll touch upon what these footprints are, very extensively in this course, because there's like a ton of them. You should know that SEO keeps changing, and what works today may not work tomorrow. So a particular aspect of your PBN may be working today, or a particular type of domain that you buy, like maybe an expired domain, may work today, but it may not work tomorrow. And for example, if you stick with me to the end of this course, there is a really big tip that I give you, which is something Google has been able to detect in these expired domains, or the blogs that you purchase and the way you build the links, which they couldn't detect before, but testing has found that they have been able to detect a particular footprint, if I may call it. And so that's the bonus tip. That's one of the big things you'll get, and I'll reveal that in the future videos of the course. Okay, so I'm requesting you to do this right now. If you can hit pause and go to Google and Google PBN guide, and there'll be a search result. I think it'll be the second or third spot by inspiremelabs.com. You'll have to click on that search result and scroll down. I mean, you can go through that guide. It's an extensive guide. It's over 80 pages long, and that's the original guide I wrote. That's become very popular. So scroll down the page. I think about towards the end of the entire guide, there will be a link at the bottom which will allow you to download the PDF manual, and so I will always that is the latest updated version of what's happening in PBNs and of the guide basically. So and that's the one that I'll be tracking and updating as more and more things happen in the PBN world and in the SEO world. So I strongly urge you to download that guide. You don't need to opt in any way to get that guide, but if of course you want the updates and you want to be alerted for the updates, you'll have to opt in. But just downloading the guide doesn't require you to register or do anything at all. Okay, so what exactly goes into the PBN process? It's pretty structured, but each step is very extensive. Right, the first thing you need to do is you need to find a domain. Now, you need to find a domain with good and clean metrics. The domain could be in your niche if you're looking for relevancy, and it doesn't have to be in your niche if you're looking for power. So when you build a link, just remember this: in SEO, there's two things. There's relevance and there's power. Relevance means the link is in your niche or in a closely related topic on the page where you're getting the link from is highly related to the site you're linking to, your money site or the site you're trying to promote or rank. And power, of course, means it could be like a domain authority, or it could be page power. That power, the page itself has good power, has good links coming in and ability to pass down link juice. So your first step is to find a good domain with clean metrics, which is non-spammed and which is powerful. Now, the domain itself, of course, you could go and buy a domain from someone. You could buy someone's business and acquire the domain, or you could buy an expired domain, which is the popular thing going on in circles right now, where people forget to renew a domain and the domain expires and it lies and it's up for grabs. So and people swoop in and grab it, and sometimes it goes unnoticed and it stays expired for a long time. And you got to be a little careful that when you're purchasing this expired domain, it's not being used as a PBN in the past and spammed, and has some spam content on it, or nobody's like built spammy links to it. We'll get into the details of all this in the course in details and extensively later on. But I'm just sort of giving you an overview of what kind of domains you can buy. And the other kind of domain you can buy is an auction domain, which is really the happening thing right now. But I'm not going to go into details on auction domains in this particular course. I may be putting up an advanced one later on that topic. So if you're interested in knowing that, just sign up, and I will notify you when I come up with those modules. Okay, so when you're buying a domain, you need to analyze its potential to pass down, link juice to your money site or the site you're trying to rank, and that comes with the good clean metrics we're looking for. Once you identify a domain and you find it's available, and you want that domain, you'll have to go in and register it. And then you'll have to set up its hosting, and hosting is another important aspect that I will talk about. You don't want to go in for cheap hosting because that's probably going to hurt you more. I'll cover that very extensively, and I'll list out some premium hosting companies and how you need to set up your hosting to make sure that your IPs are not common and Google doesn't detect your network. So after you set up your hosting, you could start deploying your site live on your hosting account, or you could set it up locally and then you could sort of migrate it to your web hosting account. The key point here is that you need to make sure that your site looks real. You can't set up a really shoddy looking website that doesn't look real. And by real I mean the content as well as the on-page elements as well as the off-page elements, which mean the social profiles and maybe some links coming into it and things that are off site. Those are also important, and I will cover those extensively. And then of course, once your site is up, you'll have to drop a link to your money site in the best way to get the maximum power. Once you do that, I recommend you update and you drip in new content to each PBN site on a regular basis to show some activity happening. Maybe build some backlinks to it as well. And that's about it. And then you rinse and repeat the process with your next PBN site, and just all the while making sure that you don't leave any sort of footprint behind, letting Google know that that the PBN, the network belongs to one entity.